Hi, ninth graders. Notice we're doing the second part of the discussion or the lecture on the Works Cited page. So this is part two, and you're going to find out what a Works Cited page looks like because I'm going to give you a model that we're going to go over briefly. Notice it says Works Cited on top. It's not underlined. It's pretty much centered as much as I could do it. And then we have the list of works that were cited in the paper, the list of works that gave us information that we used. Now, on this list, I should see at least one parenthetical citation that relates to each entry. Okay, so let me go over a couple of these. Let's say I use the work by Cornelia Dean. Well, I got to put in the Works Cited page an entry that gives me a lot more information about Cornelia Dean's contribution to my paper. So you notice we have Cornelia Dean inverted, so it's Dean, comma, Cornelia. We have the name of the article that was found in the New York Times, and the name of the article is Executive on a Mission, Saving the Planet. You notice that we have a date there and it's inverted. So it's May 22nd, 2007. That was the date it was put online, I would assume, or the date of publication. Notice I have the website here, the link to the website. And notice also that I have accessed, which means that I found it on May 29th, 2019. Okay, but I want you to also notice the periods. And I want you to notice the quotation marks. This is an article, short article. Therefore, I'm going to indicate the title by the quotation marks. Notice there's a period there. Notice the name of the source, because it's considered a long work, is going to be italicized. It technically could be underlined, but since we have access to italics, unlike when we write the paper by hand, you should use italics. Notice the inversion of the date that it was published. And notice there's commas there, 2 commas, one after times, one after 2007. Notice we have the actual link to the site ending with a period. And then we have accessed 29 May 2019. Again, the inversion of the date and a period at the end. Now, my next work that's cited in the paper, my next work, again, it's in alphabetical order, Dean and then Ebert. This was a little different, obviously, because it was obviously something that's not from, it's not from a newspaper. So we have Roger Ebert, and notice it's inverted. So that's why we're putting D and then E. We have a period after Roger. We are told that this was a review of An Inconvenient Truth. I know about Roger Ebert. He's one of the most important critics, movie critics of the 20th century. Absolutely no doubt about it. Anyway, I then have a comma after it, directed by Davis Guggenheim. Now, you can't put D-I-R, period. You must write it out the way it's suggested on the OWL site. Notice we have a period then. Then I guess the site that this was found at was Ebert Digital LLC, whatever that is. Have a comma. It was put online on June 1st, 2006. Notice the 2 commas. Notice the inversion. Then we have the link to the website, followed by a period. And then we have accessed, which means we found it on June 15th, 2019. I'll go over a couple more so that you can get a sense of other things. Besides, we went over the third entry previously in the last video. So notice the G comes after the E, comes after the D. So it's alphabetized. It's alphabetized by the first thing we see. Now notice the next one is a little different. It's something that has 2 authors. Notice we have Rob Harris, and that's inverted. And then we have the word and then we have the name of this person not inverted. No, if you wrote Revkin, comma, Andrew, it's wrong. It ruins the whole entry. It's not just that you can make a mistake here and there. The entry is wrong if anything is wrong. Notice we have the name of the article, also from the New York Times, Clinton on climate change. Notice we have the periods and the quotation marks to indicate it's a shorter work. We have the name of the newspaper, the date this was put online or published, and then we have the link to the video site. Notice it ends with a period and the date we found it. If you really don't understand this, I suggest you go to OWL, and you will find that you will understand it, hopefully at least a little better. But you may not need it. It depends on how well you understand my explanation. But this is non-negotiable stuff. You must do it this way. Okay, so we have some more here, and it continues. Now notice, you would say, Anne, how can I put it here if the first word in the entry starts with Anne and the next word is inconvenient? Wouldn't you put it under A? No, you wouldn't, because as I said in the last video, you don't count the word Anne. So if you look at it, it is supposed to be here because the first letter that I will refer to is the I in inconvenient. So I have an inconvenient truth. Notice there is no author. We didn't have the author. Maybe there was no one we can call an author. And then we have the same thing we had above, directed by Davis Guggenheim, comma, Paramount's the studio that produced this piece of work, an inconvenient truth. We have a comma, and then the date, 2006, that's the date it was put out. Notice we have a period, and that's true of every single entry. Now we're going to skip one. We have Marcel Leroux, and we're going to skip that, but notice again it's alphabetized correctly. We're going to go to the Michael Milken article, and what I can assume from this entry into the Works Cited page is that Michael Milken wrote it, yes, but there are at least two more authors. That's why I see et al. And a period. Then I have the name of the article, which came from this journal, and the name of the article is on global warming and financial imbalances. Then it came from New Perspectives Quarterly, whatever that is. And then it came from volume 23. It probably has been running 23 years, but there's no guarantee of that. This is the fourth edition, the fourth part of, I guess, volume 23. And we have the date of publication. And in this case, since we have it, we write P. That's an abbreviation. That's okay. 63. Notice the punctuation. Notice it ends with a period. Notice that you have all sorts of very specific punctuation that you must use. Okay? There's no choice involved with it. So let's see if we're gonna go over any of the others. Notice there are times, as is the case with Andrew Refkin, where we continue the link on the next line. That's, at least I would guess, on OWL, it's because you couldn't have the whole link on the first line, and therefore you're going to put it all on the second line because it'll be easier to hook up. And notice we have these other ones here, and they follow the same basic format. But this may not represent everything that you used in your research. Therefore, if it's not exemplified in this list, if there's no example of it on this list, go to Al Purdue and check it out. If there's still a problem, because Al Purdue doesn't tell you how to do it, contact me and I'll see what I can do for you. Now, again, I just want to review this. What to pay attention to when writing a research paper. First, when placing parenthetical citations, place them at the end of the sentence, nothing in the middle. Even if your quote ends in the middle of the sentence, the parenthetical citation belongs at the end. Parenthetical citations should correspond to a particular source listed on the Works Cited page. You're citing works on the Works Cited page that were used. Yes, you're giving credit at the end of the sentence that has information that is not common knowledge or is a quote. But that parenthetical citation will lead through the first part of the parenthetical citation directly to the Works Cited page and a work that just gives more information in the entry. Precision is essential. I keep repeating that when constructing the parenthetical citations and the works cited page. There is no negotiation here. Don't we both wish that there was negotiation? This is the way you do it, and you cannot be creative. Be very, very careful. 4, organization, proper paragraphing, and use of transition are essential. I just posted about that. You know, the paragraph, be sure, it should say be sure, but Schwartz, you're not proofreading that carefully. Shame, shame, shame. Anyway, be sure the paragraph, anyway, make sure you organize in advance, maybe just a brief outline of what each paragraph is going to include, although I've already told you basically what's going to be included. Make sure that your paragraph complies with the limits of content suggested by the topic sentence. What a complicated idea, which almost inevitably is the first sentence of each paragraph. What does this mean? That means the purpose of a topic sentence is to tell the reader in advance what they can expect will be included in that particular paragraph. If you stray from what you introduced in the topic sentence, usually the first sentence, almost always the first sentence, in fact, for you, the first sentence, then if you don't stick with that topic sentence, what will happen then is you can expand the topic sentence so it covers more territory, it covers more ideas, or you can make sure that it is limited to that one idea expressed in the topic sentence. 5th, the counterargument mentions the arguments that could be brought out to argue the opposite side. You know that. And you don't want to give them fuel for the fire. You want to say that some people say this, and then you're going to actually fight against it by writing some kind of explanation as to why they are wrong. Okay? The counter-argument paragraph really works best when it's just before the conclusion. There are other teachers who will prefer it somewhere else, but I think, and we can discuss this in more detail, I don't think there's any logic to placing it anywhere else. The conclusion should be more than a summary because we know it can offer a new idea, but it still must conclude the paper, and you must proofread. Unlike Schwartz, who ruined the last slide, you must proofread. Spend the time. And that's it for works cited pages. And I say pages because, again, longer paper might have 3 pages, might have 5 pages. If you look at some books, there's quite a few sources. Okay, so that might take a couple of pages if it was in the form of a research paper. So what you're going to do then is make sure you follow these rules I've given you. Rewatch the video if you need to. Look at Al Purdue if you need to. But it's time to take responsibility and learn this wonderful, wonderful way of doing things that's proper for a research paper. Have fun.